It's going to switch off again at the top. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. It's really great to have you all on board and with us tonight. I'm a transitional life coach, a healer, and I'm a clinical hypnotist. And I really do hope that this is going to be an inspiring Facebook Live conversation between us, and that I'm going to provide you with ways to remove any built-up stagnation and allow you to move towards your future self again. I really also hope that you and yours are standing strong, healthy, and hopeful in these times of great deep change. We're going to come out the other side of this turbulence so much wiser, so much braver and awake. This I'm really sure of. And do you know that you can make changes and get rid of the quicksand and the storms that are flying in towards you and around you? We have that power. And here's the quote of the day. Frustration is the spawn of all stagnation in our lives. It's a deep statement, so if you like it, it's yours. You know, we are most alive when we are making progress in the direction of ideals that excite us. And so many times we find ourselves stuck in a place that we don't like. And sometimes we even get into a state of crisis through all of these things and then have to try dig ourselves out of it. But it may feel like we're just shoveling dirt, only to have that same dirt thrown back in each time that we try and throw it out. And that creates that proverbial catch-22 of an ever-tightening crisis. You know what I mean by this. You're human. I'd like to be as useful as possible during this current worldwide crisis. We all know how disempowering it can feel to be stuck in a place where just no matter how hard we dig, we can't seem to see that ocean for the mountains, if I can say it in this particular way. We can call it a crisis if we wish. However, from what I can see happening, it's actually a war. It's a war that's being fought on so many different levels. From my perspective, what I can see within the situation around and within my world, it's a war revolving around identity. It's a war about the self, and it's about understanding one's reality. It's really a huge battle that so many people are having to work with. And one thing is for sure, it's requiring a huge transitional process from us, and we have to get our confidence back within who we are. Yes, you are understanding that? I hope so. I'm really, really hoping that this live mini class will help you be able to battle-proof yourself, your family, your business, and even your community during this time of deep validity and challenge. I'm hoping that you'll be able to take a few powerful points away from today's live event, and that it's helpful to you, and it's of service amid the darkness of the battle that we find ourselves in. I very much hope it helps you rise up and stand strong in the war that's being waged. Today's chat is really all about self-discovery and building the power of confidence by working with what I said were 4 big words and resultant ways to create a confident state of transition through this war of reality or identity that's waging around us, but it's mostly within us and trying to figure out ways to do with this. So let me ask you this, and please feel free to give your responses in the chat. I'd like to see those and just understand where we are at. First question is, do you know what to stay focused on at this time? So just yes or no quickly in the chat if you'd like to. And here's the second question. Do you have any personal mastery methods that will fortify your positivity and bring out your creativity? That's the second question. So you can answer that if you get time. Have you also got a game plan that will keep your head above the crisis and remove the stagnation that's happening, as well as the frustration that goes with it? We know that frustration is the spawn of all stagnation. So please let me know, are you with me on these questions? Do they make sense to you right now? Because these questions are really important. If you're not getting it, please watch again afterwards and write down those questions for yourselves. We are all usually able to gauge the levels of challenge and frustration that this current crisis is bringing to us. And I'm really betting that the title of this short class is ringing a few bells for you too. like it did for me. So here's a not so secret that I'm going to tell you. There's a reason why coaches like myself put together certain classes like this. It's because we too are having to work on the same issues and build a new process for ourselves through the challenges that are presented to you. And then we share that journey. So Chico, Chica, are you ready to hear more? Stay with me. Here we are. We're moving into the 4 big ways of gaining confidence in yourself and your environment. It may feel like magic is happening as you work through it, but it's not really. It's just 4 big ways of transitioning from one state to the other. By working with these 4 big processes, you'll be able to gather enough confidence in yourself that you'll be able to literally move mountains. Okay, not literally, but you know what I mean. You'll be able to achieve big things for yourself. So it will just feel magical. No, this is not really about just being able to wave that magic wand and achieving everything overnight for yourself. Transitioning through life on this level doesn't really work that way. We're going to have to do the work. It's really about walking, building a path towards developing greater confidence in ourselves, and then building our potential up as we go along, step by step by step. There's also an additional point, an important strong base aspect that I'm going to talk at the end of the class too. So stay connected till then, please. Here we go. Are you ready? I hope so. The number one thing to realize for yourself, that if you are frustrated and feeling stagnant, are you? Are you feeling frustrated and feeling stagnant? Well, let's just gotta go, because I'm not going to give you all sorts of ideology, images and stories to work with right now. Just admit it. If you're looking for ways to work through your frustration and are feeling stagnant, just type yes in that chat box now. If you're going to put no in there, that's also great, but it is very, very much a process of learning to understand where our frustrations are at right now. Yep, agreed. Thanks for sharing this truth. So let's just figure out how to transition from the demoralizing, stagnant swamp and head towards a more fluid life experience that we know we deserve. There's one big thing that many people are not able to get right now. Attentions are easily pulled into multiple directions, and we focus especially towards social media news, people, their problems and other challenges. Well, remember, I'm going to mention how we're going to change that in just one word right at the end of this chat. And in order to achieve more fluidity in our lives and in taking ourselves from one reality to another, we have to work on the following things. By the way, I hope you're getting a chance to write these things down. But if not, we're going to post them in the comments below after this mini class. So go look for them there afterwards, okay? Numero uno for us is to understand the cycle of achieving goals. That's it, goals. That's the first thing to understand here. We are all capable of achieving our goals no matter what they are. Some people may not even realize they have a goal deep down inside themselves, but most of us will be able to see and feel that the goal is there. The stagnation, the frustration is covering up that particular process. Goals, of course, will come in all sorts of forms, platforms, processes, experience, etc. So what's your goal right now, today, this moment? I'd say that it may be related to one of the reasons this live class attracted you in the first place. The example here is to ask if your goal is to be more confident, as in truly, openly, fluidly, positive, 100% confident, ready for anything type of goal, bring it on. If so, that's great. However, it can be other things too, deeply personal things. Do you understand that all transition within takes great confidence in one's ability to transcend the old and to open the door to the new? Let's call this the achievement of confidence if we can. So just having a goal to develop more confidence in oneself is really also saying that we are ready to transform the old into the new. Yeah? Yes, you agreeing with that? Good. The first thing we need to measure is what reality we are living in right now. That's it, reality. It's going to take you some time to figure this out. So I'm suggesting you take the time over the next short while to look into this. The barometer of measure that we can really look into should be to look into exactly whose reality we are living in. Realities come in various forms and types, and they present their own challenges on an individual level. Of course they do. The real question I'm asking you to look at is this: do you have your own reality, or are you living in other people's realities? And sometimes we may recognize that we are living in a little bit of both. Does this make sense to you? As a transitional coach of many years standing, I can tell you that realities are pretty difficult to understand. What is real, what is not. These are two very much way different things to work with. It takes a deeper perspective to be able to work on these things, and perspective can be developed over time. It's a power all by itself. The next and second thing to look at in terms of this build your confidence in 4 ways, to examine your options you have at any particular point as you define your reality. We always have options available to us, but sure, we're not going to like all of those options that are staring at us. The secret here is just to write down each option that we can see and remember that we are literally working towards achieving confidence. Here you're going to be able to see various realities at play for yourself. Even if it's a case of seeing the options as I don't like, no like, me like kind of process. They're always going to be there. Just write them down. They don't have to be right or wrong. And your challenge right now is to see everything that is available to you as an option only, with no need to make a decision around those particular processes. Sometimes it's a bit like having multiple roads to drive on when taking a road trip to somewhere exciting. So taking the fast freeway option is not always the most scenic, even though it gets you there the fastest. Fast is good, right? Or is it? In this case, it's just an easy analogy I'm using. But the trick right now is to write down all the options that you feel you have available towards gaining traction in attaining your goal of confidence. Write it down later on today, please. Don't leave it until tomorrow or next week, or you just won't do it. That's the way it works. One of the power of transformation techniques that we can is to stop overthinking and get going on these things immediately so we don't lose steam or input or valuable perspective or insight. Let's quickly repeat these different ways of gaining confidence in ourselves that we've covered so far. So what are they? Let's look at them. Number 1 is identify your goal. Number 2, identify the various realities that are available to you. Number 3 is to identify the different options open to you. Got it? Please, in the chat box, just tell me quickly if you've got it. That's it. Great. Thank you. Muy bien. Very good. Now, the final process and the big way forward is fairly simple to achieve. It's easy to write down and figure out when you give yourself the chance to do so. Point number 4, big word, forward. It's about finding your way forward, how to move towards the goal. Once you master this ability and using the earlier 3 points and then adding this point of finding your way forward, you get to achieve your goal all in a confident and wonderfully exciting way. So, now I'm going to ask you, how do you find your way forward? Any idea? It's challenging when there's confusion and chaos, when there's fear, when one is feeling stuck, stagnant, exhausted, etc., etc. Here's the answer. You remember that you really need to have written down all these work points above, right from number 1 through to 4, into 4 separate columns, and then headline each point of reference. So number 1 column is obviously going to say identify goals. Number 2 would say identify realities. Number 3 would say, identify your options. And then number 4 is finding your way forward. But I promised you an additional confidence building word earlier, and here it is, focus. Focus is a process that brings all these points together as one, and that's really the goal here. To learn how to apply one's ability to focus, to take the best of each point that I've been talking about during this particular class. It's a magical process to bring focus into play. So once we've managed to cross out those points, which are now in writing and which don't work for us, that we've just deleted them, or even perhaps we know don't belong with us, then we automatically begin to build our confidence and can move towards achieving our goals because it has given us insight into what we can do. It's a process called bridge crossing, simply because we learn to transition from one side to the other. And yes, I can promise you, we're going to be crossing some rough storms along the way as we do it, but it works for us. Write it down. As a transitional coach and mentor, I've found that most of the people I've worked with have easily been able to sit down and write most of the points they can recognize in these points of work mentioned. What they do find extremely challenging is the sit-down process and ability to focus on them as one process of seeing all of these things together as one. So I'm recommending right now that you really agree to take the time to do this work. Just give yourself that benefit. To learn how to focus properly is absolutely challenging. But the things that you've written down in those 4 columns are going to reveal a whole lot about the issues that you're dealing with, and one that you're going to find out about and may perhaps just come from deep within the self and work on your aspects of self-discovery. Overall, this ability to focus is one of the strongest ways to build confidence, as it literally opens up the doorway to many new experiences within. But it's also completely linked to the words, feelings, and emotions that we've detailed in the various 4 points that we've talked about in our chat today. You got it? It sounds complicated, but it's not when we put it into action. And I'd be really happy to hear about it. So please give us a few comments right now. Yes, no, you're going to go with it, you're going to work with it, etc. Oftentimes, many people just go straight to the let's focus process, but they don't look at the options that lead up to their confidence goal-building journey they're taking on. It then becomes most incredibly challenging for them. But of course, people realize that if they focus, then they're going to learn to be confident about attaining their goals. They know that focus is the particular process. However, ultimately, this becomes an extremely challenging process that oftentimes doesn't last for just one simple reason. And that reason is that a foundation of confidence and inner strength is created by going through the points and work needed to obtain that confidence, and thereby using one's focus. You know that without a foundation, a solid foundation, things easily crumble, right? It makes sense. So, as a traditional kind of process going on, and understanding that I work with Nico on this live coaching for all page, I'd like to just offer you a free call after this live chat has ended, just to discuss these points. And I do hope that you feel you may benefit from discussing the aspects of how creating a strong foundation of learning, and how to focus on growing your confidence and achieving your goals with us. After all, it's what's attracted you to this conversation. Comprende? See? We are offering these free 30-minute one-on-one conversations with any one of us to discuss these aspects and points with you and help you to gain a better understanding of the dynamics that you could achieve by working through the challenges of figuring out what's holding you back from achieving more confidence in your day-to-day life. These 30-minute calls are straight to the point and open to anyone who wishes to make some changes in their life and wants to transition into higher potential. All our calls are completely obligation-free and are open to you by clicking on the link shown in the calendar link that will be fitted below this live chat video in a short while. There's only one restriction, of course, and that is that we have to limit the number of people we are able to facilitate these 30-minute free calls for. So please book your spot ASAP, as they are limited. We are here to work with you and to coach you in these processes. I've mentioned here, we love to hear from you in this regard, either in this chat form or just giving us a call. If I'm not available, then Nico will be, or vice versa. It's 30 minutes of one-on-one discussion that can change everything for you. So that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this live mini e-class. I really, really do wish it has brought you some insight and some guidance in how to develop that all-important aspect of inner and outer confidence. Stand strong. Be of good courage, and remember to connect live on Thursdays too. Those are great chats to work with. By the way, You may have noticed I'm busy learning to speak Spanish now too. I've learned that in order to be fluid, learning something new is always important. So I'm learning one of the most widely spoken languages on the planet. También podemos elegir nuestros desafíos. You see, we have to say it very fast. With love, respect, and great transitional moments. Be confident in yourself. Remember you're worth it, and as Nico told us last Thursday, we are enough. I'm going to see you on that free call soon. Bye.